Good morning, grade 8s. Today is Tuesday, June the 2nd, and today we are going to be looking at the volume and the surface area of a cylinder. So I will get right to it. Here we go. Okay, so we are going to start today by looking at the volume of a cylinder. The volume of the cylinder is the easier of the two to sort out, and we will quickly discuss what this formula is and why it works. So here we have the volume. What we're saying is we're taking the area of the base and then we're multiplying it by the height. And this is the same concept that we would use if we were finding the area of a box as well. You would find the area of the base and then you would times it by the height. That's where you get that length times width times height for your volume. The length times width gives you the area of the bottom part, and then the height gives you the amount that's inside there. So with this one, your pi r squared, that's the area of your base, and then the height is that extra measurement that's going to give you that volume. So we'll just quickly run through a question here and then move on to surface area. So here we've got a question here with a radius of 4 and a height of 7. So we're just going to straight up write our formula. That's a mark. Pi r squared times height. So then the next thing you do is you substitute your number. So it's going to be 3.14 times radius squared, which in this case is 4 squared, times in height, which in this case is 7. So then your next line is going to be, again, your 3.14 times, and now we need to do 4 squared. So it's going to be 4 times 4, and that's going to be 16 times 7. So then your next one here is going to be 3.14 times 16 times 7, and that gives us a grand total of 351.68. And this is centimeters, so it's going to be centimeters, and it's volume, so it's going to be centimeters cubed. Okay? So most questions will follow this sort of format. Okay? If they give you the diameter instead of the radius, you've got to divide that diameter in half to find that radius before you can go ahead and continue solving. So that's a little trick to keep in mind. Remember that we're doing volume cubed, okay? Now, if they were to tell me to round this particular question here to the nearest tenth, that is going to be 1 decimal place. So I'm looking beyond the 6, I'm seeing the 8, and I'm going to have to round up. So it's going to be 351.7 centimeters cubed. Okay, and that is the volume lesson. Now let's move on to surface area. All right, this one is the more complicated formula. It looks long. We got 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. It looks really similar, but we are doing different things here. So first off, this 2 is in our formula. Here it is here again. It is in this formula because we have 2 circles. So we are multiplying by 2 to find the area of both of those pieces. So this pi r squared, this is the area of a circle. So to find one circle, we would just go pi r squared. Because there's 2 of them, we're going to go 2 pi r squared. Then we have this addition, which according to BEDMAS is the last thing we do. And then over here in this half of the formula, we are finding this curvy surface here. So in order to do that, we need to do length times width, or base times height. They're both the same kind of concept. And in this case, the base is the 2 pi r, which gives me this distance. Now, how does that work? Well, 2 pi r is our formula for circumference. Well, circumference gives us the distance around that circle. And this curvy piece is going to go all the way around that circle perfectly. So that's why we can use that, because that's the length. We've straightened it out into looking like a triangle, but it's that curvy thing that goes all the way around. And then the height, it's just going to be base times height, and that's exactly what this is. So we can express multiplication without the multiplication sign, which is why the multiplication sign is vanishing, both here and here. So all of these items are being multiplied together. We have the addition, and then all of these items are being multiplied together, and that's our formula. All right, let's solve this one. I'm going to use pink because pink is fun. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to write out my formula. Surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Then the next line down, I am going to substitute my values in. So the 2 stays. This is going to be multiplied by 3.14. This is going to be multiplied by my radius squared. In this case, my radius is 4 squared plus 2 multiplied by pi, which is again 3.14, multiplied by 4, because it's just the radius, not the radius squared, multiplied by the height, which in this case is 7. All right, so now I just need to get out my calculator again. I'm going to type in my code. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to go 2 multiplied by 3.14. Oh, actually, I have to do this step here. I've got to do my square first. So I'm going to write everything out. I'm going to go 2 times 3.14 times 16, because 4 times 4 is 16, plus my 2 times 3.14 times 4 times 7. Okay, so now I'm ready to go. So it's going to be multiplied that by 16, and that's going to give me 100.48. And that is the result of these 3 things being multiplied together. Then I have my plus sign. Now, does it hurt to do this all in one step? I don't think it hurts. So we're going to go 2 times 3.14 times 4 times 7. And that's going to give me the answer to this half of the question, 175.84. And then I leave my addition till the very end. So I'll add up my 100.48. And then my grand total for the surface area of this figure is going to be 276.32 centimeters. And this is surface area, so it is squared. Okay, now what if it tells me to round to the nearest tenth? Well, the nearest tenth, again, is 1 decimal place. So that 3, will it round up to 4? Well, I look to my key digit, which is the 1 beside, and it's only a 2, so it will not round up. It will stay the same. So it's 276.3 centimeters squared for the surface area. And you could fill these in all the way along here. Keep your work nice and neat. All right, and that is the lesson for today. Okay, guys, so I'm giving you questions 6 to 10 in the work today to do. Question 10 is an interesting one. It tells you some measurements. This is a volume question. I'm just going to go back over here quickly. Question number 10. It tells you to do some volume work, but it gives you like these stacking things that go inside like this. There's like 3 things. And it tells you the dimensions of the first outer piece. And then it says the inner piece and the other inner piece are smaller. And it tells you that the volume of these ones are smaller. It's 1/3 and 2/3 of the original volume of the biggest cylinder. So they want you to find the volume of the 2 smaller ones, but they only tell you that it's worth 2/3 or 1/3 of the original amount. So what you got to do is you have to find the original amount, and then you use your of with your fraction. So if it's 1/3 of the volume of the big one, you find the answer to the volume of the big one, and then you do your 1/3 of that to find out the smaller amounts. Okay, so there's your hint for question 10. Get busy. Have a great day, everyone.